So you've got your flowers conditioned, your greenery is all sorted out and waiting to go. So the next thing is to put the grid of tape across your container. So I'm using my wide tape and stretch it out, put it across the top of the pot, and then with my fingers just pushing it into place. Now because I want to make this tape thinner, before I seal it down at this side, I'm going to pinch the edges together, sticky side to sticky side, and that will give me a much narrower piece of tape, so I'll have more room for displaying my flowers in the pot. So just go carefully and methodically through and push the tape together. So if you buy the narrower floristry tape, you won't need to do this. But if you're using sellotape or washi tape, which is thick like this, you will need to go through. Well, my advice is to go through and just squeeze the tape together so that you're creating thinner grid lines. So here I've got my lines going down this way, turn the pot through 90 degrees and repeat. So it depends on how big the container is that you're using as to how many strips of tape you'll need. If you've got a very small container, you might only need 2 strips in each direction. But if you've got a much larger one, possibly, you might need 5 strips. So it's all sealed down really firmly at that side, and then just pinch across, sticky side to sticky side, and then with the flat piece of tape make sure it's really secure at the edge. So I've done that and created the grid effect through the top there, but you can see as I turn the pot to the side, it's got these rather unsightly bits of tape sticking down. So what I'm going to do is actually put even more tape onto the pot to disguise them, to try and make it look as if the pot was designed with a rim of tape at the top. So I'm just taking the tape really close to the top edge of the vase, and if you were using washi tape, this would look really attractive and there would be no problem with that at all. But when you're using this very functional tape, you do need to be ultra neat, just to make it look as if it's an intentional part of the design of the arrangement, and so that when it shows, or if it shows, depending on how many flowers and bits of greenery you're using, it looks like an obvious intentional piece of your design and not an afterthought. So that tape is securing the grid pieces in place, but the problem now I've got is I've still got these little bits of tape sticking out underneath. So what I'm going to do is to peel back the first pieces of tape and cut them level with that second bit of tape and get rid of them. So, and just work your way around, and quite methodically, doesn't need to be rushed. And once you've conditioned your flowers, you can set those down to have a drink, perhaps even make yourself a cup of tea and just do this, make it a pleasurable activity. It has to be done to keep your flowers in place, but there's no reason why you shouldn't enjoy these bits of your flower arranging, rather than just thinking it's a bit of a boring job that needs to be done before you can get on with your flowers. Now these bits of tape are really quite short, so I'm having difficulty getting my scissors in. If you've got a smaller pair of scissors, you can get really close to that grid line. So perhaps you might want to over-exaggerate your taping in the first instance and make this job of trimming slightly easier. So nearly back to the beginning again. So peeling the tape up and then getting rid of the surplus there. So the same thing. Just methodically working around, loosen the tape, flick it up with your finger, come in with the scissors to trim it off, and then get rid of the excess. And there you have it. So the tape is secured, you've got your grid there, and then you've just got this second bit of tape around the edge that is just holding those little tails of tape in place and trying to cut them as neatly as you can to the height of that tape so that it doesn't look really obvious that you've gone around with another layer of tape. And that's how you create the grid, and that is your mechanics done, ready for the flowers to go into your container. what you can do as well is keep this grid. If you like the container you've got, when you finish with your flowers and you've swished out the container, you could keep the grid in place ready to use another time.